Welcome back to Rappahannock Issues. I'm Tom Cohen. Again, we're here at the Globe and Laurel in Stafford County talking about World War II and what it means. We have Laura Lacey, and we are again joined by Major Spooner. And you were telling us about how you got to find out about VJ Day, and you were saying you were on these little island training, and then you had to go to break. So pick up the story where you left off.
Well, Tom, I told you that 10% never got the word. I was one of the 10%, so I kind of missed VJ Day. We were on a slope on Saipan in tents, and sleep meant a lot to us. The campaign was over, but we were training really hard during the day. So at night, must have been 1 or 2 in the morning, a sentry lifted up the tent flap, and he said, "Hey, you guys, the war's over." Well, we'd been hearing rumors like that for a week or so, and we heard about the bomb, and of course we dispelled all that. We knew it wasn't true. So we raised hell with him and told him to get out and let us sleep, which we did. We missed all the celebrating. We heard that over on the island of Guam they were firing off pyrotechnics, and ships were firing their main batteries. People were celebrating. We got back to sleep. We'd had some disappointing news before that. We'd heard about first the big bomb at Hiroshima, and then 3 days later Nagasaki, and we just couldn't visualize that. You know, we didn't have newspapers or radio or any communications other than what the command would tell us, or our letters from home, the V-mails and so forth. So we were kind of out of the loop, and we heard about the big bomb. Later they called it the atomic bomb. We didn't know what that meant, and we knew it was just a joke or something. So finally, when the second one was dropped on Nagasaki, we knew that was untrue, because Nagasaki is the Christian capital of the Far East. And why would we drop a big bomb on Nagasaki? That just didn't add up to us. So I saw Father Wickersham, the chaplain, battalion chaplain, walking down the company street. So I told the guys in the tent, "Hey, let me find out what the scoop is." He's the chaplain, so he goes to officers' call, and he knows what all the big shots are talking about. So I went out, saluted him, and spoke to him, and I asked him about the bombs, and he said, "Oh, yeah, it's all true. They call it the atomic bomb." He said, "Let me tell you, this is going to end the war. Why, that bomb can wipe out 5 square miles of a city." Well, I knew the chaplain was lying then. I gave up on clergymen, went back to the tent and told the guys, "Hey, forget it. It's a big sea story." Do you know what that padre said? One bomb could wipe out 5 square blocks of a city. Now, how in the hell could the United States ever build an airplane big enough to hold a bomb like that? So we all knew it couldn't be possible. And of course, later we heard more and more, and then the next day they said, "You're not going on patrol. We're going to go to Japan." So the way we found out the war was really over, first of all, our officers told us, and then we didn't have to go to the field anymore. Then we packed our gear, went to Nagasaki. Well, we went to Nagasaki just a little over 2 weeks after the atom bomb. And we were not at all convinced that the war was over, even if the officers thought it was. We got an order that came down from Supreme Allied Commanders. General Douglas MacArthur scared hell out of us, because he said, the Marines going ashore at Nagasaki, and we had 3,000 of us in the regiment, the 8th Marines. He said they can have 1 clip of ammunition for the M1 rifle, and being Army, they were going to micromanage everything. So he said that 1 clip will be put in the right front pouch of the cartridge belt. We figured we knew where to put the clip. It needed to be in our rifles, and we needed a hell of a lot more than 1 clip. There were 100 million Japanese. There were 3,000 of us. We knew they were just going to overpower us. But the orders were that we could have fixed bayonets. So we went ashore with our 1 clip of ammunition and fixed bayonets. We formed up 2 columns of files and were allowed to go to sling arms, and we started walking. Now this is around the perimeter of Nagasaki. to some low-lying hills where they had a railroad still intact. They had 22 cars lined up to transport us to the place we were going to occupy. We were on what had been a road. There were no buildings where we were at all, just rubble. But we could see little curbs. So there were two columns of files that were walking along, and then Japanese people started coming up to where we were on both sides. And we looked at them pretty carefully. You know, we'd seen the Japanese from a different perspective for the previous 3 years. They were tired, they were hungry, some of them were ragged, and they were very docile. We got no catcalls or obscene gestures, but as we walked along to our destination, the Japanese people bowed very respectfully to us and nothing else. And you know, I felt so self-conscious. I reached up and unfixed my bayonet, put it in the scabbard. Wow. The war was over. We knew the war was over. And so we got to the train, left for our destination, which was Isahaya, the Naval Air Station in Nagasaki. But we didn't know the war was over until we were really in Japan. Then we could believe it. We just had a little too much combat. We'd been kind of neglected for a long time.
Now, so we have less than 2 minutes left. So you actually saw some of the remnants of the bombing?
Yeah, we saw the whole thing.
Wow.
We walked about 5 kilometers around the perimeter of Nagasaki. And guess what? My gosh, you know, people need to hear this. Something happened to us. There were 3,000 guys in the 8th Marines because we were reinforced. And we walked through all the rubble of the atomic bomb. Nobody got radiation sickness. We got no fallout, nothing that I ever heard of. And I stayed in touch with a lot of the guys for a long time. We were unaffected by the atomic bomb because we never heard of any of that. We didn't know about it. So our psychology was different. All we wanted to do was move through the area and get the hell on the train and go to where we had to go. If we'd heard about fallout or radiation sickness, half of the guys would have been in the hospital.
Well, and we have to wrap this up and unfortunately go where we have to go, which is the end of the program. Again, we really appreciate your help and your work and everything you've done, Major Spooner.
Tom, you're more than welcome. All the guys of my generation who served did it very willingly, believe me. It was not a hardship to serve. It was a real honor and privilege to serve this great democratic republic.
Well, and we do appreciate it. And we appreciate Laura Lacey for being here as well. We appreciate being at the Globe and Laurel, and we hope you come back to see Rappahannock issues very soon. Thank you.